Hello, everybody. We're here a little late. Technical difficulties. It happens sometimes, but we're here.
Happens a lot here.
Yeah, it does happen a lot here. That's okay, though. We're amateur podcasters on an amateur podcast about amateur golf. See how I did that? Well, Flyer Live Podcast, by the way, that's our name. The show name. My name is Josh. Your name is Mitch. We are the co-hosts of the show. Occasionally we have some guests, but usually it's just us two. Like I mentioned, the show is all about amateur golf. We don't talk about pros. We are not as good as pros. They play a completely different game than we do. So we have no reason to talk about them because we don't know anything about them other than their names, and they're really fucking good. So we talk about amateur golf. We're okay amateur golfers. We're both getting worse at golf, I think, though. Well, maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. We are live at the moment on YouTube and X. So if you're here live, feel free to chat along. Mitch and I can both now see the chat, which is a new feature for us in like the last 2-3 episodes. So chat along, we'll chat back. If you got questions, we can answer them. If you want to rip us for being bad amateur podcasters, we will take the feedback and probably not do anything with it. Our replays, Mitch. We have new places for our replays as of 2 weeks ago now.
We do, yes.
Our video replays, the VODs, video on demand. I found out what that means. I just always knew it as VOD. I didn't know what the V and O and the D stood for. It stands for video on demand. Our VODs are on X and YouTube as well, so you can watch the replays if you want to look at our ugly faces. You can watch there. Or if you're an audio type of person, our replays are now up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Amazon Podcasts. I don't remember what it's called, but it's there. And iHeartRadio. So if you're the
worldwide podcast.
We are worldwide, other than the part where I was looking at our stats today before you got on here, and there's a cool feature where the place that I'm using to upload our replays now to all the podcast networks, very cool feature. It tells you where all your listeners are from. Mm-hmm. We're 100% in the United States so far.
Nailed it.
We are not quite worldwide yet. Hopefully we'll expand into Canada one day. You know?
Well, if it helps us put out these damn Canadian wildfires so I have to stop breathing smoke every day, that would be fantastic.
Do you think that's why we can't play very good golf right now? It's just hard to breathe.
I'm going to blame it on that. That's
okay.
Good use.
Yeah, me too. Although I played pretty good the other day. Let's talk about golf. How about that? We're a golf podcast. Let me explain. Let me explain. I've been playing like ass recently, Mitch. We've been talking about my nonsense on the golf course for like 2 months. 80 here, 85 there, 90 here, 95 there. Nothing in the 70s ever. And I tweeted a question the other day. I was like, hey, all you good golfers, you scratch golfers, where I'm trying to get back to. I was up to 3.1 at one point. You guys hit balls on the range. I need to know before you play. Because I feel like when I don't, I play like ass. And when I do, I play a little bit better. And everyone, like consensus was like maximum 5 balls, usually 0. Put my shoes on in the parking lot, walk to the first tee with the driver and tee it up and go. And I'm like, all right. Well, I'm going to change my mindset then. So I went out on Tuesday. My mindset was I don't need the driving range. So I told myself I don't need it. I'm just going to go out and I'm going to put my shoes on. And the first hole I was playing required a hybrid off the tee. So I took my hybrid out of the bag, walked up to the first tee and teed it up and hit it terribly. But I stuck to the bit because that's what all the good players said they did. The first 6 holes, terrible. 5 over through 6. And then shot 1 over 73 after I got warmed up, shockingly.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So it sounds like you don't need to warm up, is what you're saying. Is that even
Well,
your start wasn't enough to slow you down?
so what I'm saying is that if I might have hit balls before, so I could have figured out what the hell my swing was doing in the first 6 holes, I might have shot under par.
Hmm.
Or maybe not. You never know.
Golf's weird. Maybe you could have had 6 bad holes on the ending because you were worn out. Use the
That
noggin.
is fair. I did also tweet about that yesterday or the day before. Um, I'm very convinced, by the way. I think I've said it before, maybe on here, maybe I tweeted it, but I've definitely said it before multiple times. I play with a lot of high handicappers, as do you.
Hmm.
Um, I am very certain high handicappers would cut multiple strokes off of their round every single round if they stopped taking practice swings because of the
Yeah.
fatigue factor you just mentioned. I played with a dude on Tuesday. He probably shot 120. Um, got to the 15th hole. He's in a cart, by the way. And it's like a young kid, college kid in a cart shooting about 120. He took 3 practice swings in every shot, literally every shot. He was physically gassed by the 15th hole.
It's
I
not
was
great.
like, wonder why. It's probably because you swung your driver about 130 times today.
I was going to say it was the state of America and that we're all fat, lazy, and slow. But I mean maybe maybe it was just how many times he was swinging too.
No, this kid was like in shape. He's like college kid in shape. I think he played hockey, like athletic kid, physically gassed.
Right.
Anyways, you played golf today. How did you do?
Yeah, I was at a work event, so I mean nothing serious. But yeah, I played really bad. So so here's the thing about what I've learned about my bad rounds this year as I've gotten better, and I'm having a little bit of an issue the last couple weeks where I haven't been hitting the driver very well. And for the last 3 months, the driver has been an absolute weapon for me. But this last couple weeks, it's been kind of a nightmare, and I want to throw it away and never take it out of my bag again. But I'm going to fix that tomorrow. It's not something permanent. I'm sure it's again. I think I've talked about it before. When I lost my driver, it's just a setup issue. I just got to go drill my setup 100 times and then take it back to the course. Because to be honest, I haven't practiced very much in the last couple of weeks. I've had a lot of work stuff. I've had a lot of personal stuff. I just haven't had time to play. And I think before we get into kind of the meat and potatoes of this episode of iron play, I think that's something that all of us amateurs need to take a moment and recognize that too is sometimes life just gets in the way, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's something else, where you're just not practicing as much as you normally do when you have more time, and your game will suffer. And I feel like that's happened to me right now. But anyway, so when I did play, I just wanted to preface that a little bit. Haven't practiced a lot, but yeah. So when I played today, shot an 80, which was bad for me. Like it was not a very good round. Like couldn't hit the ball. I couldn't get up and down to save my life. Driver was everywhere. And, I mean, I only had to hit it 3 times today, but those 3 times were bad. And putting was really bad. Hit some good irons, but yeah, just it wasn't a very good round. Uh, so yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. But I do find it interesting that as the year has gone on, and the last few years for me, um, my good scores are still relatively close. Like 2 years ago, my good scores were right around even. This year, my good scores are still right around even. I've shot one under a couple of times now this year, um, but my bad rounds aren't as bad as what the bad rounds before were, and I think that's more telling than what your good rounds are.
I would agree. Yeah, we talked about that before. Um, as you get better, the your range of your scores will slightly narrow. It'll never be small. It'll slightly narrow, and then it just shifts down the line. So as like a 10 handicap, you're like 80 to 90 or whatever it is, and then as you're once you get to like a 5, it's like 75 to 85, and then it just kind of moves down the line, and then as you get better it also shrinks a little bit, not a ton, but so yeah, I think that's what you're experiencing, which is good. Yeah, it is an indication that you're getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. I just want to recognize, Drip Drip Floods their comment about nothing like watching people take, full speed practice swings, and then obviously they're tired. So, here's the thing. So I do agree with that a little bit, that you don't always need to hit or go full speed practice swings. You just need to find like some sort of tempo, whether it's been something that you've been working on your swing. It's just like hitting that in your practice swing if it is part of your routine. Like I usually take 2 practice swings in my routine, line up my shot, and then go. Um, but with a driver, sometimes I have found that if I go and I take 2 hard practice swings, like trying to hit the ball as hard as I can in a practice swing, I can go into the real swing with a smoother tempo and the speed is there because my muscles have been acclimated to moving faster. So I don't need to feel like I'm swinging as hard to get the speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting idea to take away from if you're ever like in a position where it's like I need to hit this ball harder. Maybe try taking a couple practice swings where you are swinging super hard, because then you can dial it back a little bit and control it, but your body is ready now to then take that full swing.
Yeah, I responded to somebody. Um, I think it was our friend Zach from Nebraska. Um, I
Exactly. He
think
gets it.
yeah.
Mid
Uh,
round speed.
what's that?
He said mid round speed training. Damn right.
Mid round speed train. Yeah, oh, yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So my opinion is, yeah, if you're just hitting a shot that's like a standard shot that you just hit every time, like maybe do whatever's in your routine, and a lot of people can narrow their routines down a lot, by the way, but do whatever's in your routine. Like I like to take very like methodical, relaxed, just kind of like sweep the ground a little bit so you can just kind of feel where the ground is at the bottom of the swing. But like you said, if I'm trying to just pound one, just doesn't matter where the ball goes, the fairway's 100 yards wide, or if I'm trying to hit, like if I'm like in the trees, which I am all the time, and I'm trying to hit like a little punch cut around a tree or something, then that's a good reason to take like full on rehearsal swings where you're doing something different than what you're normally doing, and then that way you're reminding your brain what you have to do at full speed to change what your normal swing is. So if you're trying to just smash one, yeah, just full on rip some drivers at the right before you hit, or it's like the driver swing, just swing as hard as you possibly can, and then that will kind of teach your brain what your body's supposed to do and feel to do that when you hit the ball. But yeah, I would be sparing with that personally on just normal shots,
Yeah,
because it
I'm
will.
not saying do it every time,
No,
but if
yeah,
there's
no, yeah, we're saying the same thing. Yeah, just
yeah,
on shots that are different from what's stock. Feel free to do full rehearsal because that's helpful. Um, but otherwise, it's not helpful at all to
no, not
to
at
do
all.
full rehearsals all the time.
Anyway, now that we've updated the people about our good and terrible golf,
Yeah,
we should dive into it and let's talk a little bit about iron play, because I got the masks a little fired up today
you
with the
did.
post, and it wasn't even intentional. Like I and people were taking it as a very specific shot when they kind of missed the greater concept of it.
Hmm.
Talking about uh, distance and distance control with irons. And obviously, foreplay, Frankie, this is kind of where it stemmed from. And then
Yeah.
I made my post saying, oh, it's really cool that you can hit your 7-iron 185 yards, but can you hit it 179 yards when you need it to hit 179 yards? Because that's actually what matters in iron play. It's not necessarily distance that's important. It's distance control, right? And I think that's important for a lot of people to recognize. And obviously on the internet, it's weird, and people are gonna say, "Oh, you only hit your 4 iron 180 yards or 190 yards." And who cares? Like
Yeah.
it depends. Just play the right tees. If you don't hit the ball as far, move up a couple tees. You don't have to play the tips. But I mean, everybody on Twitter thinks that you have to hit a 4 iron 230 yards carry, and I can guarantee you, probably like 1% of people are hitting the ball that far. Like, it's just not that important.
Yeah.
But speaking of a 4 iron specifically, I did want to say this, and then I'll let you talk a little bit about distance and distance control in your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was a story about Tiger Woods during a practice round. I believe it was at Pebble Beach before a U.S. Open, and was it the 2001 U.S. Open? I can't remember. But I was reading in the book I'm reading that he hit it was like this 180-yard shot, 170-yard shot. This one guy he was playing a practice round with might have been Mark O'Mara. Can't remember now. Doesn't really matter. But this guy, he hit a shot that was high, soft. I think it was like a 6 iron or something like that into this green. And then Tiger hit, and he hit this really high shot. And the guy asked him, like, "What'd you hit?" He's like, "I hit a 4 iron." So he hit a 4 iron, 170, 175 yards, really high, spinny cut that landed nice and soft. And another hole later, he just hit this absolute bullet shot under the wind, nice and low, like 235 yards on the fly. He's like, "What'd you hit?" Tiger's like, "I hit a 4 iron." so, so it's obviously, we're amateurs. We're not Tiger Woods. No one's Tiger Woods. But it speaks to um, in order to get better at golf, it becomes about distance control. Nobody cares how far you can hit an iron. It's how far can you hit the ball when you need to hit the ball that far. And it doesn't matter what club it is, because Tiger can hit a 4 iron 170 yards and a 4 iron 230 yards, depending on the situation and how he needs to shape the ball, the height, the trajectory, and whatever he's got to do.
For sure.
Again, we are not him. We will never be that good as amateurs, but I think it's still something that we can think more about consciously while we're practicing and playing, as that distance control part.
Yeah, for sure. So really, it doesn't even have to be about like Tiger's shot shaping. Of course, like he can hit a 4 iron a million miles in the air, or just run it along the ground, and just does that because he's that good. But for like us, for example, our shot shapes, pros as well, but just taking standard swings, our shot shapes will change just by like how the ball is sitting on the ground and where it is compared to where your feet are.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if the ground that you're standing on is running towards the hole, like the ball is going to come out low, or if the ball is above your feet, the ball is going to tend to move right to left,
Mm-hmm.
more so compared to whatever your stock shot is in a flat ground. So, all of those will change your carry distances and the spin and everything. So knowing that stuff is important. So like you should have your stock distances. And by the way, we've mentioned this before, Mitch. Your stock
Mm-hmm.
distance is not a number. It's not one
Yep.
number. It's a range of numbers.
Yep.
For
Apple.
example, 7 iron is 173 to 178. Like it's a range of a handful of numbers. That number gets bigger as the club goes up, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, anyway, so
Fun fact, my 7 iron distance is roughly 175 to 190, depending on whether I'm hitting it from the fairway or a tee.
for sure.
Because when I from a tee, I get probably an extra 5 yards of distance. Happened today. I had 189 yards, hit a 7 iron, and I think it carried like 180, probably 186. It was 189 to the flag. It probably landed about 9 feet short and rolled up pin high. So I mean, Yeah, adds a few extra yards just hitting off a tee, so that's something to consider too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And by the way, Phil mentions that if you pay attention to Phil at all and his tips, he says you can play with your distances on the just on the tee box just by if you put a tee under the ball or not. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean that's key to getting the ball into onto the green because that's what we want to do, green regulation. Um, yeah, like my 7 iron, for example, since we're talking about that, and I hit an unbelievable 7 iron on Tuesday, so I'm just gonna brag about that for a second. Um, my 7 iron, usually I play it to just over 185, so like 187, and I'll go all the way up to like 195 or so, depending on conditions, of course. But I'm on a par five. The ball is a little bit above my feet, so it's going to go right to left, and the slope was severely downhill towards the hole. So it was going to come out low and screaming and with some draw spin on it. So I took my 7 iron that usually goes 187 to 195 or so, and the hole was 175-ish, somewhere around there. So I knew that my flight from normal had to be cut down 10-ish yards. So I choked down on the club just slightly. I opened up my stance just a little bit to try and kill some of the draw spin because it was a really tight pin. Um, and then I just knew that the ball is going to come out low. Ball comes out low, it doesn't fly as far. So I assumed doing all those things, I was going to lose about 10 yards. Flushed it, hit it to 4 feet, missed the putt for eagle.
Damn right, it's the only way to do it.
But it's a great example of what you just said in that your carry distances change based on a whole lot of factors on what you're trying to do with the ball or what the ground is going to make your ball do. So yeah, very important to understand how all of that affects distance because if you don't have your distance down, it's going to be extremely hard to hit greens in regulation.
Yeah,
Extremely hard.
absolutely. And that was the point I was trying to make with my post on Twitter this morning was, you know, if you're, you have to carry this bunker, let's say it's 168 yards, but you can't go further than 180 yards, can you hit that shot? Um, because it might mean that you're taking a little bit off of a club or you're putting a little bit more onto a club. And do you possess the ability to do that? Because you're going to face some shots, not every green is going to be 30 yards deep. Sometimes you're going to be in a spot where you're hitting that's only 10 yards deep. And now hopefully you're not hitting that shot from 160 yards, but if it's a par three, you might be. Um, so I think it's really important to understand how to manipulate your distance, whether that would be stepping on an iron. Like, I think most people understand how to step on an iron, swing harder. Uh, but do you know how to take distance off? Do you know how to, choke up on the club a little bit? Do you know how to hit an 80% ish shot that is going to fly, 8 yards less? I'm not saying that I can do that on command, but I know the steps to take to hit it a little bit shorter, like choking up on the club, like reducing my backswing a little bit, or even just a slower tempo. Just going a little bit slower in the swing. It can still be a full swing, but it's more of a stock, quote unquote, a stock swing that's just a little bit more standard. Um, and that again, like it's that stuff that I was trying to make the point of, and never people are taking the post in a completely different way. But
Yeah.
but that's what I meant by it is how do you know how to do those things? Because that's what matters in golf when it comes to distance control and approach play, hitting greens in regulation. Um, Not to mention face control, which we can get into next if you want. But I don't know. I guess that's all I have to say about that is, you have to go out and practice those things. Um, and maybe that's something we should talk about first before we move on to the next subject is how do you practice controlling your distances better um, like on the range. And I know range balls are a pain, and it's not going to be, you're not going to get your exact distances, but for the
Hmm.
most part, you can fly a range ball to a certain spot, and then you can figure out how to make the ball go less distance than that or more distance, even with crappy range balls.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I like to do I do this a lot with wedges, not so much clubs that are longer in the bag. Occasionally though, it's fun, but I'll do it a lot with wedges where I'll go to the range, or if we're indoors, it's actually easier to do indoors when you're working on a launch monitor because you can actually see real numbers and use real balls.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're on the range, yeah, you just really don't even need to care about the distance you're hitting. You just find a target on the range, assuming that your range has targets, or just find like a clump of balls out there or something, and then hit a shot to that, like a full shot, and then that's your full shot, and then just start picking out other targets or other spots on the range, and maybe there's a flag to the left that's like 10 yards shorter, and then now you have to try and take 10 yards off of that and try and hit that flag, and then there's something else that's 10 yards shorter and trying to hit that, and then there's something else that's 10 yards and just work your way all the way back with any do it with a 5 iron if you want. Hit a 5 iron to some 185 or whatever, and then find a flag that's 165 and try and hit your 5 iron there, and then find a flag that's 130, try and hit your 5 iron there, and then find a flag that's 100 and try and hit your 5 iron there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and obviously you're never gonna hit a 5 iron 100 yards, but it
Well,
teaches you can. I mean, you can, I guess, if you want
well,
to.
let me tell a quick story from a couple years ago. I was playing in the All City tournament here, and there was this course where it's not a very long par four, but there's water in front of the green. So like going for it, driver's not in play. So it's usually like an iron, a hybrid, or something off the tee. So I hit hybrid because that's usually what I did on that hole, but I hit it a little bit left, and I was still somewhat in the fairway, but there's a tree that kind of overhangs that specific area. And the distance, I think I had like 80-ish yards, maybe it was like 90 yards, but a wedge. It was a wedge into the green, but I couldn't hit a wedge because it was going to hit the tree because I can't keep the wedge as low as it needed to go. So what I did was I hit like a half 8 iron that went like, it must have been like 100 yards, but that must have been the distance. It was something around that range. But I hit like a half 8 iron that flew onto the green to 15 feet. But I only knew how to hit that shot because I had practiced it before.
Right.
And I understanding how to manipulate my distances throughout the bag. So I guess I would never say that you will never need to hit a 5 iron or something 100 yards, but you literally might need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to. One, it's just kind of fun. Like if you're on the range, I, people don't practice. We've said this before. We say about putting, but it could be true for other people about just going to the range. The range is fucking boring because you go by yourself and you just grind. And if you're not in the mood to grind for the day, or if you just don't like enjoy grinding at all anyway, like the range can be boring. So doing stuff like that can kind of make it a little more fun where you're like, all right, I grinded for 30 balls. Now there's this flag out here. I'm gonna try and like flop a 5 iron or so, or just anything, and just try and do different things to make your ball go different distances and do different spins. Because you may just eventually need it anyway, and you'll know kind of how it feels. I mean, if you do it once on the range, you're probably not gonna be able to do it on the course and be confident that it can happen. But if it's your only option, at least you've tried it before.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like I played basketball most of my life, Mitch. Like in basketball, at the end of practices, we would just huck up half court shots occasionally. You don't shoot half court shots all the time. Like most of your shots are like in the lane, or for me, I shot a lot of threes, but like you aren't shooting half court shots all the time. But occasionally you have to do it, so you should know how to do it. So,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, I mean, if you want to relate it to basketball at all, I mean, right? You practice layups, you practice mid jumpers, right? You
yeah,
practice 3 point shots. Like you're practicing all of those distances because you need to know how to hit all the shots. Now in golf, we have different clubs, that help us to control those distances. But most of us are going to have anywhere from 12 to 20-yard gaps, depending on the club or whatever, right? Um, that we need to cover. So, how do you hit those? And that's by manipulating how hard you're hitting the club. Whether, like we said already, it's through, was it, is it the range of the backswing? Is it the speed of the swing? Like choking up on it? How to manipulate those variables is critical the better that you get. Obviously, if you're a 20 handicap, you just need to learn how to hit the ball.
Yes.
But as you as you get better, you need to learn how to manipulate your distances so that you can hit the numbers you need to hit.
Yeah, 100%. And since we're headed there, a lot of that has to do with how you deliver the club head or the club face to the ball. Um, because if you can't figure out the club face, like it doesn't matter because the ball's just gonna go. You're just not gonna know where the ball's gonna go anyway. What do you got on how to improve your ability to control your club face?
Yeah. So this kind of, it sounds like shot shaping, right? That's kind of
Sounds
what we
like it,
said we
yeah.
were talking a little bit about. So it kind of is, right? I mean, if you're a person who primarily hits draws, your ball's probably going a little bit further than somebody who hits fades because you're coming in and you have a stronger face. You're presenting it with a couple degrees less loft, and the ball's going to go, 3, 4, 5, 6 yards further than somebody who's coming in with an open face and there's 2 degrees less loft. So it's launching a little bit higher, and it's a little floatier, spinnier, and it doesn't quite have the carry distance. Um, so I think this is where differential practice comes into play. I know we've talked about that in the past, technical work where you're working on your swing, but that differential practice is critical too, right? Because we want to be able to understand what the club face is doing when we hit the ball.
Hmm.
How do we know how to do that? Well, we go to the range and we try it, right?
Exactly.
Can you line up straight at this flag? There's a flag here, right? Can you line up straight at it? And then can you start the ball left of the flag? And can you start the ball right of the flag? Then you can add in, can you start the ball right of the flag and move it left? Can you start the ball left of the flag and move it to the right? All of that is practicing that face manipulation at impact. And it's such an easy, simple thing to do on the range. And it's just learning how to, oh, this is what I do with my forearms and hands to shut the face. This is what I do with my forearms and hands to leave the face open. And it's pretty basic stuff once you actually start thinking about it and practicing it. But it's going to give you this feel of, oh, I missed that ball 20 yards right, and you can feel it in your hands because you've done it 100 times now of, yeah, I just left my hands open there. I could feel it when I was doing it. It wasn't good. That's what happened. And then you know how to correct it too, because you know how to do the opposite.
Exactly. Yeah, the correction part is big when we talked about that a lot too. We talked about a lot of things in 28 episodes. By the way, I don't think I mentioned at the beginning, this is episode 28. I like to count. I'm an accountant, so counting's fun. We're on episode 28. We've talked about a lot of things in 28 episodes, but we have talked about um, a handful of times about how to diagnose issues on the golf course, and yeah, exactly what you just said. Doing that stuff on the range gives you the knowledge for when you get back to the golf course, and all of a sudden you're hitting this weird pull hook. Well, I was just on the range yesterday and I was hitting pull hooks, and then I flipped and I was able to start hitting like baby fades, and I know how to do that. If you've never practiced that before and you're hitting pull cuts that you're not used to hitting, you don't know how to fix it. So it's I mean, a lot of what you're doing on the golf course is minimizing mistakes and then problem solving when mistakes arise. And if you're hitting shots that you're not used to hitting, you have to know how to fix it. If you don't know how to fix it, then you never shoot good scores ever.
Hmm.
But if you hit it one bad one, you're like, oh, I know what I did. I felt my hands close there, and I hit this little pull cut. I'll remember next time to kind of leave the face open a little bit, and I'll be back to hitting my like it's. If you practice it, you can fix it. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Talk shot shaping.
Yeah.
Uh, what is better, hitting a draw or hitting a fade, and why does every amateur think it's a draw?
I have an answer for you actually. Everyone likes to hit draws because draws go further. And
Yeah,
people,
okay, that makes sense.
at least that's my opinion. At least that's what I think because golfers are very they have high egos and they especially like athletic. There's like a lot of athletes playing golf now, and everyone just wants to hit it further than the next person. So like it's just a D measuring contest and who can hit their driver farther, who can hit their 5 iron farther. Like people just love that. So if you want to hit it farther, you hit a draw. And by the way, Mitch, a draw a draw does not go further because it has top spin or really even less spin. Sometimes it has less spin, but it doesn't have to. It goes further because of what you mentioned earlier with the club face. The club face turns down a little bit, so if we're talking about a 5 iron, you're turning a 5 iron into a 4.5 iron or a 4 iron when you're closing the face. If you're hitting a fade, the club face naturally will open up a little bit, so then you're hitting a 5.5 iron, so it kind of goes up in the air a little more, and you get a little bit less distance. Um, so the top spin thing always gets me because it's like that's no, the difference is just that has the club face closed, one has a little bit open. Um, Personally, I really don't think it matters. You should just have one, a stock one. Whatever one you're good at, just do that one, unless you have to change for whatever reason. If you got to bend it around a tree, or if there's just some reason for something else to change the shape of your normal shape. Otherwise, just do. You shouldn't have your preference should just be what your stock swing is.
Hmm.
As Dustin Johnson famously said, if you want to hit a fade, just fade it.
Yeah. Worst quote of all time. Who put that guy on camera? No,
Why do you think everybody wants to hit draw? I hate draws.
I have no idea. To be honest, I think I at one point I was always a fader of the golf ball as a kid, and maybe it was just because all of my really bad misses were super far right. So I'm like, I just need to learn how to hit this draw and make it go the other way. Maybe that's part of it for a lot of people is because the most common miss for amateurs is a big old slice that goes 60 yards to the right. So they want to learn how to hit the draw because they think that's going to prevent them from hitting the slices. Nope, it won't.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you're gonna have a two-way miss regardless. Um, but yeah, I would agree with you that everyone should just pick one shot shape. Some people are just better at drawing the ball. Some people are better at fading the ball. Very few people, even on the tour, are capable of working it both ways with effectiveness.
Hmm.
Every single one of them, every single tour player, high level amateur, D1 golfers, like all these guys, they all know how to move the ball left or right when they need to, but that doesn't mean that their dispersion and their outcomes are better when they do it both ways. When they draw it into a left pin or they fade it into a right pin, that doesn't necessarily improve their outcomes.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
dispersion can widen.
Yeah, everyone has their stock shot that they're better at. Yeah, but yeah, like you just said, the dispersion when you flip it to something that you're not as good at is going to get bigger. But for really good players, like that dispersion might not be enough for it to be extremely terrible. So if your stock shot is a fade and there's a pin tucked back left, sure, you can try and draw it in there, because if you hit the really good one, the spin on that ball is going to move the ball a little bit closer to the hole than it might have been with the fade. Plus this is now mental and visual, but the visual of the ball just kind of going that way just kind of feels a little bit better too. Um, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, if you're changing shot shapes from your standard shot shape, you should expect that your dispersion is just not going to be as good.
Right.
And
Yeah.
play for that, obviously. Like if you're hitting a 7-iron and your dispersion is 20 yards or whatever it is, and you're that's a fade, and then you're going to try and draw it, like, you should change your plan of dispersion to be 30 yards, just so you don't overcook it and then now you short side yourself or something. So
Mhm.
um yeah, if you're going to be playing around, definitely play with that,
Yeah.
with your dispersion numbers.
And me personally, I'll say my personal side of this is I honestly just try to hit the ball straight. I gave
Me
up
too.
trying
Actually.
to I gave up trying to be a fader or a drawer of the ball, and I just try to hit the ball straight. And then if it goes left, it goes left. If it goes right, it goes right. Like I'm going to have some variances in there based on where my ball position is, where my faces, whatever. Um, but I have found for me that my dispersion is tighter when I'm just trying to hit a straight ball. That 0.0 attack, that 0.0 face angle, like just zeros across the board. That's where my dispersion is the best. And it probably has to do with trying to get to zeros in all that, and your swing path and your face angle
Hmm.
is your variances just become tighter, right? Like your path might then be 1 to 2 degrees into out or out to in, depending on the swing and the ball position, and it might be 3 degrees open or 3 degrees closed for the club face, and everything is a little bit tighter. Again, for me, somebody watching this, maybe that their fade is a little bit tighter or their draw is a little bit tighter, but the point is find the one that works for you, that gives you the best results the majority of the time, and just do that.
Hmm.
Don't try to go both ways because Jack Nicklaus said draw it into a left pin or fade it into a right pin.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And that's funny that you say that you're a straight ball hitter, because I am also a straight ball hitter. Um, and when I'm playing my best, the ball is just on a rope dead straight, and as are you. That's not normal. We're
Yeah.
we're weird like that. Like, most people have a little bit of a curve to their ball of some sort. But yeah, I'm a unicorn like you that way as well. My ball is going dead straight, which also can be hurtful for us when we're off, because you can't. It's when you hit the ball straight, you can't. Uh, as people like to famously say, you can't take one side of the golf course out of play, because your miss can just a small miss can go one way or the other, so you're not really taking one side out, which can hurt occasionally. But yeah,
The thing is
um,
that nobody can take one side of the
no, you
ball
can't. No,
because everyone has a two-way mess.
yeah,
Everyone.
yes, exactly, yeah. Speaking of dispersion, by the way, what are your thoughts on the top of the bag dispersion with irons, taking
Mhm.
irons out of the bag and putting in hybrids and woods? Do you have a decision process, a thought process? It's becoming very popular to put 7 woods in bags, is where I'm getting at.
Yeah, and we've talked about it a ton on this show, right? And I think it's great. I think a lot of amateur golfers could get better by getting rid of their long irons and replacing them with hybrids, 7 woods, 9 woods, 5 woods, whatever it happens to be. And they're just easier clubs to hit. They're easier clubs to get in the air. They tend to go through the rough a little bit easier.
Mhm.
There's a lot of benefits to them, and a lot of amateurs could probably feel more comfortable and confident in pulling out a 7 wood versus a 4 iron. Some days I would like I haven't I haven't bought a $400 seven wood yet, even though I really want to, and I might not this year, just because I told you before the show came on, my fucking HVAC is being shitty, and I might need to replace it, and that's gonna be like $6,000. So
Yeah,
yeah, might not be getting a seven wood this year. Um, doesn't mean I don't want one. Uh, but anyway, this isn't about me. This is about everyone watching. This, if they put a seven wood in the bag, the odds are that they might find improvements. But again, it all has to be tested, and it's all based on the individual. So
for sure.
it's not a generalized thing that everyone will get better if they put a seven wood, a nine wood, a hybrid in the bag versus a long iron. But some people will benefit a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And uh, one thing that got me at the top of the bag was early on, I put a 2 iron in my bag because 2 irons are really fun and really cool.
They are
But
cool.
god damn, are they hard to hit?
Yeah, but when you stripe a 2 iron,
Yeah,
woo,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
fun.
So that's a little mental hurdle you got to get over there. It's like I had the 2 iron in my bag for so long. I hit like 1 out of 10 good ones with that thing, but the one good one is like, damn, I can't wait to hit that club again. But it's just sucked for the most part, and you can't hit a 2 iron out of the rough really, and it kind of sucks off of the fairway too. It's like just tee shots only basically. I put a hybrid in the bag, just instantly better all the time. Just so much better, and it's not as fun to hit as a 2 iron, but it's better. And by the way, I'm on the same page as you. I'm thinking about ditching the 4 iron and putting a 7 wood in soon. Maybe you know what we need? We need a we need a club sponsor. We'll get a little deal on 2 7 woods.
Yeah.
How about that? If you're a club manufacturer and you got 7 woods ready to go, Mitch and I will 2 for 1 it.
Yeah. I mean, we might need more than a few hundred views per podcast before we start getting some sponsors at some point in life. But, right now, this is about telling people to buy seven woods because I can't afford to buy one right now because HVACs are expensive. Um, so other people should buy them so I can live vicariously through others. That's what I need in my life.
Yes. Yeah. I, I'm on the same page. Yeah.
We can just convince one person. Somebody watching this, go buy a seven wood, send us a photo of your seven wood or a video of you hitting it and striping it because I need to live through you.
Yes. Yes. Send us 7 wood video. Actually, I don't even want a video. I just want to see a picture of a real 7 wood. I'd want to go to like golfgalaxy.com and search 7 woods or like Callaway used clubs and just look at pictures from manufacturers. I want to see it. I want to just see it in somebody else's hand.
Yes.
That's another thing. By the way, um, Dan Winters mentioned to us a couple times now.
Mhm.
Um, you should have more than the maximum amount of clubs that you can put in your bag. You should have more clubs than you need with you at all times.
But not in your bag because
Obviously
you.
not in your bag, yeah. Um, because every course you play is a little bit different, and like a 4 iron for me, like may a 4 iron to hit off the tee, I'm guessing is a little bit better than a 7 wood.
Mhm.
And if I'm going to a course where I'm going to be hitting a few 4 irons off the tee, then maybe I put the 4 iron in the bag. Or if I'm playing a course that is a little bit more narrow and maybe the par fives are looking like they're going to be reachable with like what a 4 iron may be for me, then maybe I put the 7 wood in the bag and flop it around. Um, give yourselves options for that kind of iron play, especially at the top of the bag where like being able to hit good shots into greens could just be a matter of what club you have in your bag at the time, whether it's a wood or a hybrid or an iron or whatever it is. Or par threes too. If there's long par threes, it's probably a little bit easier to hit iron off the tee, I'm guessing, than a wood, but because they're a little bit longer. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I got.
absolutely. That feels like a really good ending point.
Okay. Ooh.
That's perfect. It's a lot of iron talk. Maybe a little too much. We should
It's
probably get
good
somebody
info
on.
though.
It is. We should probably get somebody on who's like an expert in iron fittings and iron and all the different types of irons, because
Where's Dan
there's so
Winters?
many different there's so many different options out there, from player improvement to distance improvement to the shot shaping, or the being able to do shot shaping and stuff like that. There's so many options, and so many amateurs just go buy stuff off the rack, and they have no idea what might actually be best for them. And we've had Dan on before, and maybe we have to have him on again. Or I know we talked to another club fitter when we were looking to get Dan on, and
Oh
maybe
yeah.
we can get him on to talk about just irons too. And I think it might be an interesting episode to dive into.
Yeah. You know what we need to do? Here's what I decided just now. Just decided. We'll just get somebody on that has connections to Seven Woods.
Deal.
So
Deal.
so it'll be an exchange. They get to come on and tell us about the club fitting and walk us through how to do all of that. And they get this massive exposure, Mitch. Massive.
Would be
All
like 80
seven
people
people.
currently watching.
All seven people that tune in. Massive exposure, and then we get a couple 7 Woods.
Hey, four of those people are my family members. Okay, they're
We
important.
love them. And two of those people are my family member as well. So we just have one non-family member fan that's watching.
Yes, beautiful. It's a beautiful
That
podcast.
and that's drip drip flood, by the way. So
Yeah,
there's our seven.
perfect. Anyway, we need to wrap it up because this is going to go off the rails. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching tonight. We appreciate it. I hope you were able to take away something from this. I don't know. We'll be able to dive in deeper as we look into more of this. But yeah, hope you're able to learn something. Hope we learned something. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see you all next week. 8 p.m. Central Normal Time. But in the meantime, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, leave 5-star reviews on
Yeah.
all of the places we are now: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, all of those places. Leave a positive review. It's good for the algorithm. It's good to help us to continue building this little community of amateur golfers that we're trying to put together here, just to come and chat golf.
That's right. Yeah. You can also, by the way, Mitch, I learned you can leave negative reviews and it's also helpful. Did you know that?
Perfect. Good exposure,
So
I
if you
guess.
hate us or if you think I talk too much, leave a negative review too. Do it. Just leave a review, you know?
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Yeah. I,
But
I
anyway,
won't I won't take it too personal, even though I've mentioned that I talk too much thing like 1,000 times.
regardless, it's fine. We're good. We will see everyone next week, 8 p.m. Central Normal Time.